Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm your host, Phoenix, and today I'll welcome you to the very first episode of FADC, the brand new show where I will sit down with Street Fighter 4 legends to look back on their careers, their stories, and the moments that made them iconic. And for our very first guest, we have the one and only, the most iconic Dudley in Street Fighter 4 history, Smug. Let's get into it. Yo, we have Smug with us today for the interview. Very excited for this. Been waiting for this for a long time. So first of all, how are you? How have you been lately?
I've been all right. Everything has been great on my end. How's everything on your end? Everything is all right?
Been
Chilling?
doing great.
Okay.
You know, the content, the streaming. It's
Mm-hmm.
we do the same thing for pretty
Yeah.
much. So we understand how it goes.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. And it's like a fun thing too, like just making content because all right, like there's one thing for like competing and stuff, right? But the content is like people look at it as like television. So there's people that even like when you're streaming and stuff, that's still content that people like watching. So people just love where you do certain things like an exhibition or something like that. People would tune into that. They'd be like, "Oh, I could watch this." Okay. So like stuff like that, I like doing.
Yeah, nice. Hey, we're definitely gonna get into the content creation questions because I'd love to hear about your content creation journey and how you started making YouTube content and how you transitioned from being a competitor into being both a competitor and a content creator because you know creator because it's not as simple as it seems to do both at the same time. And so yeah, and that gets us to our first question. I always wanted to ask you, how did you first get into fighting games, and if there, was there a specific moment or a specific game that got you into fighting games and that got you hooked?
Well, yes, because since I was a kid, pretty much, I grew up with an older brother and I had two older cousins as well. And they played because they're a little older than me, they played Tekken. So that's what kind of got me mainly into like fighting games and just video games in general because they used to play Tekken all the time, all day, every day. Then eventually when I got old enough, pretty much like when I got older, I started playing Tekken with my cousins and my brothers. So ever since then I kind of was like really interested. Then I kind of stopped for a little bit and then I
Mhm.
started playing more shooters like Call of Duty, and I used to play Halo. But then, um, as time went by, then Street Fighter 4 came out. Then I kind of was really interested in that game. So because I was used to Tekken, and I played a little Street Fighter when I was younger too. So those two games it made me want to get more into it with that. So
And in your family, like the environment you play Tekken in, was it already a bit competitive? Like you would practice to get the
yes, it
better.
was. Sorry to cut you off. Yes, it was. You can't lose. Like if you lose, oh yeah, they're gonna tease you for a long time until you beat them. It was one of those, yeah. But it was mad fun at the same time. It was like really exciting because always something like hilarious happens or something really intense or something really cool happens. So it was always like competitive
Mm.
because it was like me, my brother, and my two cousins. So we used to sometimes do like teams. We used to do all kinds of things like that. So it was really cool.
And would you say that, starting fighting games right away into a competitive environment like that where losing is out of the question really you kept that mindset going forward into your career as to where you don't want to lose and you just, you know, got to do everything you can to train
Mhm.
to make sure that doesn't
Yeah.
happen?
Just casually, yeah, I was always competitive. So, just growing up with my older brother and cousins, they made me always like a competitive player, pretty much. Any game I play, it's
Mm.
just a competitive thing. But I still have fun at the same time.
Yeah, that's nice because it's very interesting because I've known a lot of people that always played fighting games in a very chill, very calm and casual environment. And sometimes you really need that spark, that bantering to get into competitive. And those players, even when they tried getting better, it was never, they never managed to get that competitive spirit. So
Mhm.
I think the environment you learn fighting games in contributes to the way you see that and the way you approach them.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, you're right on that. And to bounce off that, it's pretty. It's see the thing is that's the thing about like competing because sometimes it could change people's lives and stuff, And but I always my favorite. I remember when I used to be like in like school and I used to have so many friends. They were like, "Yo, I'm going to get this game. I'm going to beat you." All of this stuff. But now, if this is the competitive scene, people are going to think it's a threat. Like,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
it's like a different mentality. It's very different, but it's still cool because you see the greatest money matches from people that also are really great on your level, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I've noticed a little shift as to where now banter is a little, it's seen a little more as something that's toxic nowadays compared to back in
Mhm.
our time, for example, during the Street Fighter 4 era. Would you say that's true or
Saying it's more toxic?
yeah, people are less likely to vibe with the banter and that kind of environment. Like
Mhm.
if you tell someone now, "Hey, you're trash. I'm gonna beat you in a money
Yeah.
match." It's people don't mess with
See,
that as much anymore.
right, but you know what? I don't know because I don't know if it's more toxic nowadays. The only reason why I would say that because things are more filtered now, so I don't think it's as toxic because there's a lot more rules. But
Mm.
during the Street Fighter 4 days, there were a thing people used to do called money matches at these tournaments. So you beat the person online, you guys are going back and forth. You guys have to meet up at a tournament, money match for like hundreds of dollars. But nowadays, one because everybody's kind of isolated, and also like the pandemic and stuff. So a lot of people, I don't know, and then as time went by, so many people don't really do money matches uh like that. And a lot of more trash talk has also been filtered. But nowadays it's different because yeah, there's more filtered things, but social media, I think is a lot more drama because now there's social media. Seeing the Street Fighter 4 days, I mean, it was the beginning of social media, let's just say. It's
Mm.
not as more and more I think a lot more people join social media, especially during COVID, the pandemic. So because it has a lot more younger people, it's a lot more people. I don't know. Like it's hard to say what is more toxic. It really is because I remember the Street Fighter 4 days. So it's uh maybe nowadays. Now I thought about it. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah,
Sorry about
yeah.
that. Yeah, I had to think about it.
That's true because I
Maybe
remember back in
nowadays.
the day, Twitter was not as big in the FGC. I remember back in during the Street Fighter 4 days, everybody was on Facebook, you know.
Right.
So yeah,
Mhm.
you're right. Twitter might have completely changed the whole communication and how people interact, and the filtering definitely is a result of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was mainly because of social media. I think because I've seen so many things happen because of social media. All of these like arguments in these the fighting game community and stuff. So before social media was really at it before it hit its all time high. Yeah, in the Street Fighter 4 days, it was crazy, but I think it just multiplied. I think that's what's going on. Even though it's more filtered, but it's a lot more other things that come with it
Mm,
now.
yeah.
So
And
it's kind of
everything
like a no
is
wrong answer, probably, but I'd probably go with nowadays.
yeah. And whenever something happens, even if it's something little, it gets a lot of eyes. Since the FGC is
Yes.
quite tight knit, everything gets
Hmm.
you know, uh,
Yeah. I
you're in the
agree. I
spotlight.
agree. Yeah, because let's just say, notice how like with social media. as well with these how people share when they beat somebody online. You only could tell your friends about it, but now
Mm.
it can go viral. You can make a TikTok video, it get a million views, so you can, it's scary because you can, you know what can happen? You can, let's just say if you play somebody in 3 games, he beat you only the very first game, but then you beat him in the next three. He uploads that one clip where he beat you that one game, but that goes viral. That's an instant. That's an instant argument.
That's the classic, we call it in Europe. In Europe, we have a guy that makes videos on YouTube, and
Mhm.
you can beat him 10 games. You lose one, he's gonna upload that one game
Yeah.
you lost on YouTube. And even if he wins multiple games, he's not gonna make one long video where
Nah.
it's all those. He's gonna make individual videos for each game he wins.
That's right. And he's going to tell his grandchildren. He said, when I was your age, I'll be such and such. I'm just joking.
That reminds me, we're talking about we talked a bit about your um, debut in fighting games and how you started, but I also wanted to
Mm.
ask you, before fighting games, were you always a gamer? And outside of fighting games, what games did you like playing? You mentioned shooters, Halo and Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I used to play Modern Warfare. I used to play Modern Warfare 2, World at War, like all the Call of Duties. I used to play that, and Black Ops, and then I used to also play Halo. That was one of my favorite shooters. I used to play a lot of shooters, and when I heard the trailer, I watched the trailer for Street Fighter 4, and I remember because as a kid I used to also play Tekken and Street Fighter, so I'm familiar with like fighting games.
Mm.
And when I saw that trailer, when I saw like the artwork and just how the game looked, I said, "Yo, I want to get that game." That was what I said. I remember seeing that trailer that they were making a new Street Fighter. I thought that was the thing of the past. I thought the last Street Fighter they ever made was in the 90s, Third Strike. I thought I was the final Street Fighter, and I was cool with that.
Mm.
I was cool with that, but no, they made another Street Fighter 4. Well, Street Fighter called Street Fighter 4, and that's what made me really want to get into that. And I kind of wasn't playing shooters as much anymore. And then I used to have some friends. They used to make fun of me for playing uh Street Fighter 4 because there was a thing where you have like a lobby and they call it endless battle. So
Mm.
they used to make all kinds of jokes saying, "Oh man, what were they saying?" They said the battle never ends. You playing a game. What did he say? You playing a game endless, like the games don't end, so you just video game and you don't touch grass. Like yeah, they tortured.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was bad, but it became who I am today, so it's okay. I love Street Fighter. It's cool.
So, when you got into fighting games, and there was already a competitive environment with your brother and your cousins and stuff, but what
Mm.
really made you want to take it to the next level, as in, start looking for your locals or tournaments, or get online and play that ranked? Like, did you
Okay,
want
so
to?
around this time, yeah, so around the time originally, I I didn't expect me to become like, like a professional gamer and stuff and a professional player. Originally, I just mainly used to just go to like outside and just doing outdoor activities and just I kind of was into like music, like DJing and stuff. I
Ooh.
never done it, but I was just interested. I was like my main passion, like music, like being into music. But at the same time, on the side, I used to play a lot of Street Fighter 4, just for fun hobby. I mean, I was cool with it. And then I just happened to be really good in a game, and one of my friends told me, Psycho, he said, "Hey, like you're really good in this game. You should be traveling." And I found out that it was a local spot, Next Level Battle Circuit, and I started going there. And I was in an environment where I never thought to the day. I thought I was the only one that liked fighting games. I used to think that because my friends used to make fun of me for playing a fighting game over shooters. So I went all the way there just thinking in my head like, oh, I'm gonna be the weirdest dude in here. But nah, I came to find out at these local tournaments, it's in a world where everybody likes this exact same thing you do. They like the exact same fighting game as you do. Maybe even more. There's people that dress up as their favorite characters.
Hey,
So I understand. But that's what I'm saying. Ever since then, it really made me hooked because I was able to talk about like how cool fighting games are to so many people. So that's what kind of got me into that. And that was my original passion, but that's what made me start traveling and stuff.
hey, shout outs to Psycho.
Yeah, shout
For
out to Psycho.
who knows, maybe without his his little push, you wouldn't be the Smug we know today.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm kind of glad it worked out because again, I didn't always plan on like just competing. I would again like I was cool with just playing Street Fighter on my free time and just going out and working and stuff like that. I was cool with that, but I just happened to be great in a fighting game, and my friend just told me to start traveling, and the rest was history. So, and I did pretty good on my first offline tournament. I didn't do too bad actually. I think I got like top 8 or something like that.
Ooh.
So yeah, I really wasn't complaining. I said, "Wow, I didn't even think I was going to get a game." But no, it was cool. So ever since I guess me placing well, being confident in myself, and being around like so many people that love fighting games just like me, it felt like my second home or something automatically. So
That's beautiful. And
so yeah.
so you started joining next level battle circuit. Is that
Yes.
yeah? And during your early tournaments, were there any rivalries or players that really pushed you to improve that were beating you early that gave you a very hard time?
Um, Literally everybody at next level. So at first, I did okay. I did really good at my first time going there, but then as time went by, I started like losing a lot. It was just so many players. So you got like Dominion, you got TS, you got Arturo, you have Sanford, you had Chris G, you had so many people. Even just so many people from my team Pi. You just have so many locals. Like you have this T-Hawk named Native. That was a problem. The list goes on. Like every person there, they were really good. Even Min, he had a really great E Honda. So I had all the practice in the world with them. Manny Fuerte and Spabrog, shout outs to them. It was just so much competition, so much. It was really hard to win a next level. That's how packed it was there.
Mm. So, from what you told me earlier, it seems like you got into the game right as Vanilla came out. So
Yes.
everybody knows you as a Dudley main, but what did you
Mhm.
play before Dudley?
When the game first came out, I was playing Ken and I was playing Balrog,
Ooh.
and those two characters were like really cool. And Balrog was cool because he was like I know who Balrog was from like the previous Street Fighter from Street Fighter 2, and I thought that was cool. Like he was in the game, and like that's who I really started. But I mainly mained Ken. I was more of a Ken player than Balrog player. But then Super came out, and then Dudley came out, and I still didn't even play him when he first came out because I was just playing Ken and Balrog. But everybody had a new Ultra, like Ultra 1 and Ultra 2. So, but with Balrog, his Ultra 2 was so terrible. I thought it was the worst Ultra in the game. So, everybody got new combos, but Balrog had the same combo. He didn't improve at all. So I was like, this character whack. I don't want to play him no more. Then I just stuck with Ken. But then when I started playing Ken, there's a rank system.
Mm.
So you have to really grind rank to get. You started at a D rank. Then when you keep playing and keep winning in rank, you elevate to C rank to a B rank. So when I was in rank playing Ken, I ran into a Dudley player named PJ's Liquid, and he beat me so bad. He was an A plus. I've never seen anybody with a high rank like that. It was very rare at the time when you first started. Like when the game, like
Wow.
when the ranks first started, the highest rank was like a B rank, and that was pretty good if you were a B rank. But this dude was an A plus. That was the first A plus I've seen. I've never seen the A with the plus. I was like, yo, this dude is nice, and then I just got bodied. So
And so that's what inspired you to pick up the character or try him out.
Uh, yeah. So when I lost really bad, I was um, I went to the training run. So let me try Dudley. I was bored. I was like, let me try it, right? And I saw his inputs. I was doing his trials, and I'm like, wait, he's a half circle motion character. What? What is this? And I was a scrub, so like I used to play Akuma a little bit, and his red fireball is like a half circle back input. I thought
Mm.
that was the hardest thing to do. That was like some rocket science, I thought. So that's why I said, no, this character not for me. So my with that mentality, that's why I didn't play Dudley at first. I tried him, but he was too hard to get into. He was too difficult to play because he was nothing but half circle motion moveset, and I didn't play him, but I was just a fan. I was just watching PJ's Liquid. Then he had a Magic of Series from Yoga Flame, who used to upload. He still uploads great YouTube videos from like rank matches and stuff,
Yeah.
so he finds all the great clips. So I used to watch him, and they had like a compilation video of PJ's Liquid, how he was just being very dominant with Dudley, and I was watching it, and I was just saying, "Yup, that's exactly how I got bodied. The same way everything y'all saw in the video, he hit me with all of that stuff." But then, I just didn't play Dudley; it was too hard. But then when he ran into Marn, it was another Dudley player, and he also just beat Daigo, and he beat the person I looked up to, PJ's Liquid. And then that's when it was official. I said, all right, I'm actually learning this character right now. So it was two people that made me get into Dudley, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I
I know it's a little
remember that
primitive, but it's
Marn
like a two
moment.
part.
Yeah, yeah. I think that Marn beating Daigo was the first time Daigo really lost in Super. That
Yeah, I don't
was
think because at the time he was undefeated. Nobody was beating him.
yeah.
I remember that. He was everywhere, just didn't lose. But when I saw him, and he did it with Dudley too. I was like,
I
oh,
remember how he beat him. Even he beat him with an Ultra One through a fireball.
Ultra One, yeah. And I didn't even know, excuse me, at the time when I saw that, I didn't even know Dudley can go through uh projectiles. I didn't even know that with his Ultra One. I thought it was just a move where he just beat you up and that's it. But no, that there was a reason for that move. It goes through projectiles to make him like intimidating. I thought that was really cool. I thought he was like the smartest player. I just never thought, like I never thought to use this for fireballs. I just wanted to beat you up like with Ultra 2 and call it a day, so that was really cool. I learned a lot.
Speaking of learning Dudley,
Mhm.
okay, so one thing we all know is that you were the first and the only player to really push Dudley to that like elite level. And what do you think you understood about the character that maybe the other Dudleys never really grasped or never really got to get to
Um,
that?
well, to be fair, it took me a while to get really good with Dudley because when I first started playing Dudley, I was trash. I'm gonna just be real. I was trash for years. I was trash, terrible, awful, ugh. And I don't know. Like as time went by, I think I started getting better in 20, uh, like in arcade edition. I would say. I think I started getting better in arcade edition, and it was the beginning. Like I was still kind of whack, right? I wasn't that good, but in 2012 ish, maybe that I'm just trying to remember. That's why. But I think around that time I started getting better, and then I started running like the PJS online lobbies he used to have
Mm.
and the Peaceful Journey lobbies, and I ran into a guy named 34EC. He played Dudley, and at the time I was getting better, so I was starting to become the number one Dudley online. So I just at the time I was feeling myself. I thought I was the best. Nobody could stop me. I was immortal. I used to think that, right? And then I got humbled by a Dudley player. He was a B rank, but I was at A plus already, and I was getting destroyed. Like he just had better fundamentals. So then
Mm.
I had to learn all kinds of stuff because of that. Learn some more characters. Then I started understanding frame data. I started getting more in depth with the game because I was just getting destroyed. And that made me improve a lot. And also at the same time going to my local tournaments. So two of those things, losing the 34 EC, Dudley, it made me like learn a lot more about the character on a higher level, and going to tournaments with like higher high quality matches and top players, just watching them play. So it was a lot that goes into this process of me getting better with a character. It didn't just happen overnight. It took a while.
There's also something I noticed when I watch you play as Dudley, watch the old footage or even currently, because you're still insane at the game. Um, there's a
Thank you.
lot of stuff that only you do. Like I can tell it's stuff that you discovered or stuff that you labbed. Like, would you say labbing is a big part of your improvement and your practice?
Yes, yes, because w- going back to starting at tournaments, I was losing a lot of my matches because I kept dropping combos because um I used to be winning the match where I'm about to get a perfect or something, but because I dropped that combo, that person made a whole comeback on me and stuff. So one day I was just getting fed up where I know why I lost. That's what a lot of people need to realize. You have to be honest with yourself and know where you went wrong. Let's be real, Phoenix. Usually when you lose, like deep down, you might not want to admit it, but you know why you lost. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know where you
definitely.
went wrong, but you even though like you don't want to face it, you just gotta you just gotta be honest with yourself. Why am I losing? Because I dropped this combo that cost me the whole match. Why am I losing? Oh, because I'm mashing DP, I'm mashing Shoryuken or reversal too much, and people will keep blocking it, and that's why I'm losing. So you can make a change. All right, maybe I should stop mashing because this person he's gonna block. He's waiting for me to make that mistake. Or people will play extra risky because you don't always land your combos. So I used to get mad where people say, "Oh, he's not going to land that," and I ended up dropping it because what the person said. So I just made sure, like, no, I'm going to learn these combos, and when I master these combos, it's a wrap. I used to tell myself that all the time. So hard work does pay off. I work hard for these combos I used to do with Dudley, and if you play Dudley, these combos are not easy. So, but it just takes time though. It takes time.
Mm. Seems like with Dudley, combos are like the most important thing about the character. Is that?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, because every I don't want to say every, but 90% of the Dudley players, we all play the same characters, so we understand your vision, what you're trying to do with Dudley, but sometimes it just costs you the whole game because you drop the combos. Because majority of his combos that if you want to do great damage, it requires a lot of one frame links. You also need to understand conversions where you can get a combo off of a certain situation, like stuff like that. So a lot of Dudley players, they can get a lot of brain farts, meaning like you might get confused doing one combo when you're thinking of a whole nother combo, because he has so many. It's so many situational. So like stuff like this, you got to practice your combos. You have to.
Yeah, a lot of character specific stuff, character specific
Yep.
combos, setups. It's
Yep.
very rich character.
Yeah, and a strategy to add on to that, the strategy for me learning how to not drop my combos, I sit in a training room and I figure out what combo am I dropping, right? When I know what combo I'm dropping, for an example, I used to drop two jabs, like jab jab heavy kick with Dudley. I used to think that was the hardest combo in the whole world. I used to think that. But then I started practicing the timing
Mm.
and I used to try to test myself where I do this combo, do it 3 times in a row. You got to land this combo 3 times in a row. When you get it 3 times in a row, now do it 5 times in a row. When you do it 5 times in a row, now do it 10 times in a row. So it's kind of like a workout if you go into the gym, you know how you do reps and sets. So something like that. It's the same concept. So like in Street Fighter, I'm pretty much like with you can tell like if you treat it like an actual human body, how physical and shape you are with the character. You can kind of relate it to
Mm.
that. So there's people like Daigo, the amount of practice he put in with with this character, his knowledge is built like the Hulk or something. That's how much knowledge he has. So same thing that goes with me. in my situation. Like I feel like I'm really in great shape with the knowledge of Dudley because I've put in the work. I've put in the hours and just time and dedication, you know. So I hope that kind of
Yeah, it does.
makes sense. I
It
know I was all over the place again, but
it does more than just
it's
answer the
true.
question. It's funny you mentioned Daigo and his training because that's exactly what I was
Hmm.
thinking of. And recently in the Street Fighter 6 era, one time I tuned into his stream. Guess what he was doing? He was just doing DP input from
Hmm.
the end of the screen to the other end, doing only DP inputs. Oh, he would
Yep.
get to the other side, he would start again. And I think he did that for like 30 minutes. I was like, whoa, this guy is
Yeah.
dedicated.
Because there's situations where all right, he knows how to do a Shoryuken input, but heat of the moment when you're in a match in a big tournament like grand finals, that can cost you the game if you didn't practice it enough where you can just do it with your eyes closed, you know. You want to practice that because there's so many scenarios where you know how to do it, but you don't consistently get it, where sometimes that one time that person jumped and you did a fireball instead of the
Mm,
shuriken input and you lost,
cooked.
that's because you didn't train as long enough like Daigo did. See, Daigo, he's preparing for the random scenarios when people jump and try to win off of that. He's going to show you can and uppercut you every time because he practiced.
And speaking, we talked a bit about how you improve the labbing, the level of competition you had in New York, and all the things that helped you improve. But now let's talk about something a little more specific: the tournament prep. Like, for example, when you're entering a tournament, are you more the kind of player that would study your opponent and tailor a strategy around them? Or are you more focused on the character you have in front of you and you would rather not focus on the players? Like, would you prep or both maybe? How would you approach
Both,
a competition?
both. I would, all right, so I would focus more on the character compared to the player because I want to know what options I can do to the character first. And then I focus on the player. What kind of player is he? Is he a person that likes to run away all day? Is this a guy that only focuses on neutral? Is this guy, you know, um, is he just a full rush down? Like I look at little habits like that. Is he a masher, meaning like always mash and reversal? Does he crumble under pressure where let's just say if he drops one combo, he doesn't play the same. So that's why it makes me play a certain way where I will purposely get more aggressive just to make this person wake up reversal because I know he likes to do this. So I don't know. Like learning the matchup is very important. That's like the basic thing to study, the matchup. Then whoever you run into, make sure you have enough notes to understand what's his form of style. And sometimes you didn't play that person at all, so you got to do your research, watch his matches, see how he does against against your character, or against other people with like bigger names compared to a person that this is their first tournament. People play
Mhm.
differently depending on who they play. So I look at everything, not just one of the two, mainly both.
That's true, and Street Fighter 4 allowed for that richness in the matchup. Like, there was so much that could happen. That matchups
Yeah.
were so comes. And speaking of that, like, in retrospect, how do you feel about Street Fighter 4, especially after having played 5 and 6? And what made this game different and special to you? And do you prefer it over 5 and 6, or are you mixed?
Me personally, because I think Street Fighter 4 is my favorite fighting game. So I'm gonna have to be a little biased, but I would say that the main thing I love about Street Fighter 4 was the combos, how intense the game is. I even like how you can play any play style how you want. You can pick a character where you just have like a really great neutral, or even it doesn't even matter what character, just whatever character you play, you can approach it just running away, up close, or you can play just like the neutral game, you know, combos on top of that. You can style on your opponent. You know, you can do all kinds of things. I just like the way the game is. And they have character specific combos, you know, stuff like that. That's my favorite thing about it. And Street Fighter 6 is still in development. I think that game is going to age like fine wine.
Mm.
I feel it. I don't know. It's like it's a lot of stuff now that are returning to Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5. Even just the training mode is so great in Street Fighter 6 because they have a replay takeover. They didn't used to have that in Street Fighter 5 or Street Fighter 4. So let's just say if you play against a person and then now you can choose to watch the replay, what happened, where I went wrong, you know. So that's why I kind of like that. That's why I'm saying if they're in a direction like that and there's still more characters on its way, so it's still as a video game, it's still like really fun. Street Fighter 6, I'll give them that for sure.
Mm.
Street
Yeah.
Fighter 5 was a really great game, you know, but a lot of people, I don't know, it's like mixed reviews about it. I think it's the best character roster in my opinion. That's why I will always return to that game, the character roster.
Mm. You know, in retrospect, I remember people talking about Street Fighter V around the end as an amazing game. I think around the end when they added some mechanics like the V shift and stuff. I think people were even at the start of Street Fighter 6, they were talking about Street Fighter 5 as being a great game around the end, like the final version of the game. Like, would you agree
I
or?
think it would probably be the most balanced for sure because that's mainly why over the years, at least 15 characters people wanted to nerf, so it just wasn't balanced. In Street Fighter 5, they made it like pretty much like more just versatile, where pretty much every character is pretty much really good. The only character that just dominated the game at the end was Luke, but overall, it was still like majority of the people in the game were really good at the end.
You went from Dudley to from you went from Dudley in Street Fighter 4 to I think Boxer is the character you played for first in 5 and then into and then G, right?
Mhm.
How was that transition going from Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter 5? Was it
It was
difficult? Mm.
Yeah, it was difficult because again, I was known as like arguably the best Dudley player, and so I was just like pretty much just playing like Dudley only. And then Street Fighter 5 came out, he was not in the game, so I had to literally learn from scratch. And so many people were just saying, "Oh, he's finished.
Ooh.
Dudley is no longer in the game, so it's over for Smug." Oh, I heard it all. I was called a one-hit wonder. I was called all this stuff. So I had to show and prove people over and over that I ain't going nowhere. I'm here for the long run, you know. And so that's why I first started out with Karen, actually,
Oh.
because Boxer wasn't in the game yet. But I was kind of losing. I don't know. Like I just wasn't doing good with her really. I won a local event with Karen towards the end, but then at that time, Balrog was coming out like probably like a week or two later. And then after when he came out, then the rest was history. And I was like, I want to learn this character. This character it definitely suits me. And I used to play him in Street Fighter 4 Vanilla. So I liked the way they made his design. He got the hoodie on with the boxing gloves. He looked cool.
Uh,
And
mm.
then they nerfed then all right, they buffed Balrog in season 2
Oh man,
and
the
he became like
turnaround punch.
arguably the best character, right? He was ridiculous. I ain't gonna lie. But then he was so good in season 2, they super nerfed him
Mm.
in season 3. Then he was terrible. Then I ended up learning G, and I didn't realize that is one of the swaggiest, coolest characters, and that character's hilarious. So I started learning him, and then that really helped me with my content creation. It really uh changed my personality where I had even more of a sense of humor playing with G. So that's what people like really enjoyed. And ever since then, I started getting comfortable with just competing and being a content creator. So it's like a lot that why it kind of worked out for the better that Dudley was not in the game. It helped me grow out of my shell. It helped me expand my horizons, not relying on one character.
Yeah, that's where he got the catchphrase. You all know it. acting like you won't get command grabbed.
That's right.
And
Yeah, and I got that because the acting like you won't get command grab, it came from I was playing G, right? And I know he has a command grab, but I ran into a Zangief player, right? And I was losing to this dude, but he was just sitting in the corner, just like thinking I won't do nothing to him. Like he was just like he was taking every throw, like man, get that out of here, right? He was just feeling himself on defense. So I got so mad, and I was like, "Yo, I'm tired of this Zangief player acting like he won't get command grab." Like I was like, "You know what? This next game, I'm just going to abuse command grab." So then I started command grabbing him, acting like you won't get command grab. Every time I got it, I was like acting like you won't get command grab, and that stream was so funny that people just started saying it, and I was like, "I can see me doing this." All right, then I just started doing it more. So that's literally the story behind that. It was a Zangief player that just acting like he wasn't going to get command grabbed. It was literally from that.
yeah, and how was it playing a character that had a command grab? For the first time.
It's risky. It's like it's good, but at the same time, it can make you lose because what if you try to do something smart, but that person was just holding up regardless, And it's like I don't want to keep playing. It's not consistent. People change their mind randomly and just don't block. It's too much to worry about. Some people will purposely make you guess on purpose just to get you out of trying to command throw them or something. That's why I still play Balrog as my main and G as my secondary.
And speaking of your character transitions, when Street Fighter 6 came out, you gravitated towards DJ. Was that the first character you tried? And
Yeah,
you
that
stuck
was
with
the
him?
first character I tried. Yeah, I stuck with DJ. He's a really cool character. I'm thinking about learning more characters actually because there's so many cool characters in the game that I still want to learn. So, like they have another boxer, Ed. I'm gonna probably like learn him again and like play some more Ed probably. And Terry Bogard is in the game, so I played him a couple of times. And now that he got buffed recently, I want to try this character. So it's a lot more to learn. So that's what I'm pretty much going to be doing. It's a lot of cool characters, but I'm not going to just completely kick DJ to the curb. Nah,
Mm.
he's so fun to win with. It's so fun cooking people with DJ. I think it's really cool.
Speaking of DJ, I recently talked with Free J about how he mentioned how in Street Fighter 6 DJ is so much better and cooler than in 4,
Yes,
and
I
he
agree.
also really enjoys
I
the character.
100%. I agree 100%. He's just a better character. Like just everything's better. His anti-air is better. You can get more damage off of an anti-air. His fireball, he can get a double fireball as meterless before you have to spend 2 bars for that. He's just a better character, better combos, so yeah, I
And
like him better in this game.
little question: if Capcom were to release Boxer or Dudley into the game, would you pick them up without hesitation, or?
I would. Yeah, I would. I would. But I would just like if they're like completely the worst character, and if I want to like compete, it wouldn't be that wise to you know play that character. But I would still have him for a certain player. Like let's just say if it's a certain player that despises that character, then he's going to get that character. But other than that, no, I'll just play like a really topper tier
Mm,
character or like a top tier character if I want to play competitively on that.
yeah, yeah, that's true. And to go back to Street Fighter 4 and Dudley, were there things about the game that um, you struggled with, or you wish were different, or were you
Um,
happy with?
in Street Fighter 4, you're asking?
Yeah.
Like what things I want to change. Um, Probably the way I played, probably because I really started getting really like I was just improving a lot in the game, but the game it pretty much moved on to Street Fighter 5 at that point. But
Mhm.
anything that I would change though, probably like if you're just asking about like what I'll change in myself or just like it doesn't matter, like
I,
just
I
in general.
I meant like in the game. If you were working with Capcom and you could make one change with the game, what would that be?
I would just fix Elena's um character design where her hitbox is actually just like the whole cast, where it doesn't randomly shift in a different direction where your combos can drop. That's the only thing I would change. Other than that, it's not me being angry or bitter or anything like that. It's just that would probably just be one thing I would change. Just like the
Eh,
hitboxes on the new four characters, the last four characters that came out. That would be it.
yeah, it's pretty
Other
rare
than that, the
that
game is amazing.
yeah, it's rare that people like a game as is and wouldn't change anything, so that's nice.
Hmm.
And I agree with you. I wouldn't change much about the game. It's amazing, which is why if
Yeah.
Capcom were to ever re-release a rollback version, please don't change anything. Just leave it
Yeah,
as
for
is.
real. Like, even though, like, all right, even though a lot of people would be thinking, like, I just lose to certain characters, I would still leave all of that in the game. Like, I don't like, that's why I'm afraid of, because nowadays they're remastering fighting games, but it's not the same because they're taking out all of, like, the infinites, unblockables, but that was like the beauty of the game, why everybody loved it in the first place. So I don't think they should change it. Just add better rollback, or just add more rollback and stuff. Just make the game more accessible, to
Maybe
like
a
a
good
larger.
training mode, like you mentioned.
Yeah, but don't like change the game, like something that we grew up for years and stuff too. I heard they took out a couple of cool combos from Marvel vs. Capcom 2, like rumored. I heard it's not
Mm,
the same as like the arcade version. So little things like that, I don't want them touching any of the game. Just remaster it where just get maybe some cooler costumes, and don't even change the hitboxes. Don't even change that. Just leave it how it is. Just better online. That's it.
a preach
People will play it.
exactly. And speaking of losing to characters and all, and how you don't mind, even if you have some hard matchups, you don't mind, just keep the game as is. Tell me about the matchup you loved the most, where you were like, or you were the best at, where you were like, if I fight this character
Hmm.
in tournament, no matter who it is, it's gonna be free. And then also the opposite, like your most hated or worst matchup that.
You know what?
Hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you my worst. My worst were a couple. Number one was Elena. That was terrible.
Oh
You
yeah.
have Fei Long. That was hard. But I learned the matchup over the years, so it's still hard, but it's still one of my least favorite. Zangief is awful.
Hmm.
Um, I would say Yang is really awful as well. Those are like
Okay.
mainly like the matchups I struggle with the most, I would say. But now one of my favorite matchups, um, and it's a lot of matchups I know inside out. Like, I would say I know the Blanca matchup inside out. I know that matchup. Guile, I know that matchup inside out. Um, Gokin. Majority of the cast I know inside out, so it's really hard to say. But favorite matchups, I'm really thinking.
Okay, let's say
Um,
there's a million on the line, and they would be like, "Hey, we're gonna bring you the best player of this character, and you have to beat him." Which one would you choose?
ooh, all right. Um, Dawson, Dawson,
Oh, and you can
Dawson.
style on him too, Dawson. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Either Dawson, Blanca. I was gonna say Abel, but the way people play Abel, he's just a guessing character. So nah, no, it ain't worth it. If there's $1 million on the line, nah, no. I'd
hey,
rather play it safe.
fighting against Abel with a million on the line, man, that would be stressful.
Nah. Yeah, one step kick and you praying? No, 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 no. But I think like matchups for me that I know inside out, Dawson, um, Blanca as well. Gal is hard though. All right. This might sound weird. It's technically like on paper, it's actually bad for Dudley, but I know the matchup so well, I can win it if that makes sense.
Mm, yeah, yeah, it's one of those matchups you know so well that you're confident no matter who it is.
Yeah.
Speaking of your career and your to keep to continue in that line of
Hmm.
questioning, what would you say was your your peak moment during your Street Fighter 4 career? If you had to choose one moment from your career in a clip to show someone, which moment would it be?
I think NEC when I beat Pepperdine in Grand Finals. I beat the El Fuerte player. I think that was my actual peak. I was playing out of my mind that tournament, and it wasn't the first tournament I've ever won. It was probably like the second or third, because my first one I played native in Grand Finals, and that was my first like tournament offline I ever won. But a lot of people were saying that Team EG weren't there, so it doesn't really count as a big win. You know how people just try
Mm,
to discredit
yeah,
you.
yeah,
So, but that tournament, there were internationals, EG. The whole family reunion was at that tournament, and I still won. So nobody could. That's when I realized more people started to actually like give me my props. More people like started respecting me as a player. So I would say maybe yeah, NEC when I defeated Pepperdine in Grand Finals.
yeah. Because that, not only he plays an unorthodox character like
Mm,
Fuerte, plus he was like fresh off of a major win where he won Tokyo Game Show. He was like one of the best players in Japan, so beating him in a
mm.
grand final is really, not many people can claim to have achieved something like that.
Shout out to Pepper Day too.
How about the your iconic tournament sets against Poongko?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I played Poongko a lot, and it's fun fact, you know, in Arcade Edition, I used to be a really big fan of Poongko because he I just saw like because originally like in Super and Vanilla, Seth was that character. He had the lowest health in the game, and many people they just ran away with him. They didn't, they were too afraid to get touched once and they die. But Poongko was the only one that played a rush down Seth, and I was just so amazed, and I became a super fan of his Seth. I started fooling around with Seth a little bit. My Seth was not that good, but I just wanted to just play him because of the way Poongko played him. And then after that, he also beat Daigo at that Evo. And that was crazy at the time. Because we've seen Daigo probably get sent to losers or something like that, but we never seen Daigo get perfected on. We never seen that. We never
Yeah,
seen Daigo somebody land a perfect on Daigo. And that was like the most anticipated match because Poongko started to make his name on the scene at the time. He was just known as Poongko the Machine. They were running all kinds of compilations of all of his greatest moments playing Seth. And then we heard he was going to Evo. And then they said, "Yo, next match is going to be Daigo versus Poongko." Everybody saw that. When I tell you,
ooh,
everybody saw that match. Everybody was waiting for that. And when Poongko and it was bad too, he really destroyed him. So I was like, wow, Poongko is, that was probably one of the favorite moments.
yeah, and your tournament sets against him. How do you feel about them
Like
in
with
retrospect? I remember some
so
funny moments, like when he wanted to take his shirt off, and then he was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna take my
oh
shirt
yeah.
off."
So now like I was saying, because I was a super fan of him, I kind of just know how he plays because I try to literally copy the way he played Seth for myself. I wanted to be just like Poongko, like the way he played Seth. I really did. Like I was just like I thought this character was like really cool. So when I played him, I kind of already knew the matchup because I just know how he plays, and I kind of played the same way. So I was kind of like, in a way, playing myself in a way.
Mm,
Like that's because I play the same way how Poongko try to play, so I know all of his tendencies and stuff. So yeah, so like when the first time I played him, I think it was in Canada Cup, and I just felt like I just beat like one of my heroes. I was like, yo, I just beat Poongko. Oh, this is cool. So and then as time went by, I just kept beating him, and I kind of felt bad because now it's to the point where he wanted to learn Elena just to beat me, and I was like, wow, that's what it come down to. It's crazy,
recently
but it was cool though.
after your online win at the tournament, recently he quote tweeted the the tweet where he won the tournament, the Untamed Gaming one. He said, "Oh,
Hmm.
it's nice." He said, "It's nice that you're still playing and that he would love to play you again in the near future." I don't know if you saw that tweet.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. I definitely saw that, and I felt honored, And I'm always down to play more games with Poongko, of course. I don't even mind playing like a long, like just like casuals, like just first to 1,000 if it was up to me. But he's very Hollywood. He's a very known brand out there, so he doesn't have that much time. But it's okay though. I mean, I'm always down to play him in like a first to 10 or first to 20, whatever. It's always fun games when I play with Poongko in Street Fighter 4.
And we'll gotta be on the lookout if both of you enter a major or both of you are there. That has to be something to set up.
Yeah, we'll set it up, in the future.
All right, now, we talked about like your proudest moment, like the moment that
Mhm.
your holy grail, like your highest high. Now, what was your one moment that haunts you? Like one, I don't
Oh,
know,
that
could be
haunts
a
me?
yeah, could be like a combo drop that cost you the whole tournament, or did you have a really
Uh,
bad moment like that?
yeah. I think when I got second at E League against Tokido, that kind of haunted me. Because all I had to do was just block, and he woke up EX Shoryuken. So I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I mean, I saw it coming, but I just didn't think he would do it, but he did it. So I was like, oh, so I would say that would only be the thing that haunts me, but it doesn't even really bother me like that,
Mm.
It really doesn't, but that's just one of the regrets I would say when I was in a match, like, oh, and I thought about blocking too, but I just try to take a risk myself, but that's what I get, for taking risks. So,
I think my victory of yours that I found the most impressive was when you won against Momochi. Um,
oh yeah, yeah. Are you talking about when we played the first to five in Topanga, or are you talking about the one at CEO?
yeah, you beat him at CEO, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah, I beat
Or
him at
you beat him
CEO.
also in the set?
Yes. So
Oh
at
wow.
Topanga, it was a round robin, and each person had to play a first to five wins.
'Cause-
So it's a little different because I had to fly all the way in Japan when I was already in college, and I would have to worry about like midterms and stuff. So I was still in school, and I had to go all the way there, not even prepared. I didn't even play the game in months, and I had to just play Momochi. I had to play,
wow.
and I ain't gonna lie, I did not think I was gonna win. I thought I was gonna get five. I thought I was gonna probably get one game at tops because I'm at their home turf, and they're even better at their, in their comfort zone. But I had to lock in even more. So I thought it was really great, like great games for sure. So shout outs to Momochi as well.
Yeah, because I think at that time specifically, Momochi was the best player in Japan. I think
Hmm.
during that ultra, he was winning every major in the U.S. He was beating everybody in Japan, like especially the Japanese players. Like he had them like downloaded, and
Hmm.
you made it look I wouldn't say easy, but he was he did not understand what was happening.
Yeah, because I also like I learned the matchup. I really am great in the Ken matchup, Ken Dudley matchup, and I have so much experience from Ken. I play Ken myself, so all of that stuff. So that's pretty much it. And it was just like a back and forth with so many other Ken players I used to play. So just learning all of that and then running to Momochi, I was really prepared.
and did you have a specific that one player like your demon? Did you have a player like that where whenever you enter the brackets you're like, I really hope I don't have to play this player, and that you
Um, in Street Fighter 4,
mm,
uh, I ain't gonna lie. I'm trying to get a really good one that I did not want to play in tournament. Chris G was annoying the way he played in Street Fighter 4. Like he was so good, but he was really hard to beat. Chris G. I'll give him that. I'll probably say Chris G was one of the players I did not want to run into him in bracket. I was just like, oh, you know. Um, who else? Mainly it was Chris G. I would probably say Chris G. I'll give him his props. Definitely Chris G.
Yeah, and yeah, I think Sakura is a problem for Dudley, right?
Yeah, it was hard. I'm not gonna lie. And the way he played, it was mainly Chris G. Every other Sakura player, okay, I felt a little more confident, but the way Chris G played, like he's just a really great tournament player. So, it's hard to beat players like that.
Yeah, he's I mean still to this day he's man, he's one of the most impressive fighting game players. He's at the top level in five different games at the same time. I don't know how he can, juggle so many games and just a mystery. Like in Street Fighter
Mm.
4 he had this very simple playstyle but very effective, very low risk, and he would just never crack under the pressure.
Yeah, for real. But that takes experience. I had to learn that myself, because I was really nervous. My hands used to shake when I was just on the big stage, But I'm starting to get more and more comfortable as time went by. So I'm pretty sure like Chris G was definitely really comfortable because he plays so many different games at a high level. So he's already used to it while I'm just starting.
I see, I see. Um so, we've discussed Street Fighter 4 and everything. There's
Mm,
another game I want to talk to you about, Street Fighter Third Strike, because you play that game
mm,
a good amount, especially, in recent years. Like, I see a lot of your YouTube content, to be focused around Third Strike. Like,
mhm.
can you tell me about your journey through that game, how you feel about it?
All right. Well, I want to say that what got me really started in Third Strike, I remember one time I was at a tournament. I was talking to Justin Wong. We were hanging out and we were just talking about Third Strike one day. Then they brought me up how my performance with Dudley in Street Fighter 4, and he said, "Dude, you would be you're Dudley." He was saying that I would really like Dudley in Third Strike because he was way better in that game compared to Street Fighter 4. So I said, "You really think so?" He said, "Dude, you definitely should try it." And I said, "You really think I should try?" He said, "Bro, I would even teach you like how to play Third Strike, even if you just try Dudley one time." And I said, "All right, sure, why not?" And the first day, I streamed Street Fighter Third Strike. Justin Wong was in my chat. He kept his promise, and he was just telling me like how the mechanics work, like parrying. Giving me advice on like what kind of top players to look at and stuff. So ever since then, I thought the game was really fun and understanding the parry mechanic. And I was like, yo, this is probably the sickest high level mind game I've ever seen. Third Strike, the parries is a different game. So, and on top of that, like Dudley was just a really cool ass character. So that's what really got me stuck on Third Strike. I really like that game. It's cool. And on top of that, one more thing too. When I'm making content, so many people I've realized people would still watch these classic retro games. It's crazy. Like that's another reason why I like doing it because I like making content from classic games, or games that people grew up on, even from the older generation that heard about these games. I like doing like things like that as well, like playing all the games you grew up playing as well.
And yeah, I noticed you're gravitating and revisiting these older games like Third Strike, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 recently, Fatal Fury games,
Mm-hmm.
Third Strike, CVS 2. Um, what, you know, I mean, outside of the fact that, people still love these games to this day, what do you find in them yourself? And how would you compare those old school legacy games to these newer games? Is there something you like about
Um,
those specifically?
I just like the game. I like the stages. I like the combos. I even like the execution. Like it's more difficult in the older games because it had like strict inputs where you kind of had to have the perfect input to get a single move out. the combos were not easy to do. So once you land them combos, everybody knows that all right, he practiced that. That is not easy to land, you know. So it was more of like a satisfying feeling when you land these combos. Like even if you just do jab jab super, first of all, you got to do that really fast,
Yeah.
and it got to be a perfect input. So it's like a satisfying feeling. So imagine you parrying something in third strike. Like let's just say if you parry three moves, like parry parry parry, then you do that combo into super, you just feel like you're invincible. I don't know how to explain it. Everybody that plays the retro games, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like it's just that great feeling. Like, yeah, I practiced that. Like, you feel rewarded. Like, I'm getting these in a match. So, I don't know.
Yeah, and do you feel like that's kind of missing in recent, for example, Street Fighter games where they really lowered the skill floor and even the skill ceiling, like for combos and execution in general?
Yes, because they made all of these combos easier to do, like the buffer window. So you can press a button within the same sequence almost as like a combo where it's supposed to link or something, and like anybody could do it pretty much. You have a lot of time. These are not even one frame links, but for to land these one frame links in older games, it took a lot of time. So once you land it, you definitely feel better about yourself. You know, you feel more rewarded. But nowadays, if you land a combo, you're like, oh, okay, all right, I could do this. It's not that hard, no problem. And I feel like I'll get bored faster because the combo's so easy. Whereas like, all right, let me just do this quick combo really quick. All right, cool. But in the other games, you were like, nah, let me do this one frame link combo on you and get this nice damage. And yeah, and it lets you know it lets you know that yeah, I'm nice. That's right.
Yeah, I guess it hits different when you beat someone and you do something sick and difficult to do compared to just throw looping them in a corner. It hits
Yeah, because
different.
anybody could do it. It's like, all right, like, all right, I could do this too. No, nothing special. But you see it's special when you see people doing these combos, these inputs and stuff that's really hard to do. If you look at their command list, you'd be like, wow, this dude is really getting this consistently. Holy crap, this is crazy. This is really cool. This guy's really good. Like, I like stuff like that.
It's pretty cool that you're making content about these games for people
Hmm.
to see because you know these games were from a time where content creation wasn't really a thing, so it's very difficult to find footage, especially like
Hmm.
stuff for people to watch and to learn from. And I want to transition into something I want to ask you earlier. We've talked about your career as a competitor and everything as a, fighting game player, but you're now also a content creator. You make amazing YouTube videos, you stream. When did that, desire to make content, when did that, when did that happen? When did you
All
feel like
right,
making?
so all right, so before I used to just stream and stuff, and I didn't really do it like that. I would say it was just like it was whatever, right? I didn't really take it as serious. And this is like in Street Fighter 4 days. I just played rank match, and yeah, I had a sense of humor. It was fine, right? But I don't know what happened. I think I was at a tournament, and I was realizing like commentators, they're getting more recognition compared to the actual player that's winning these tournaments, right? So, and realistically, let's just say you're the commentator, okay? I'm gonna use an example. You're a commentator, and I'm playing at Evo Grand Finals, right? That's the only time you're gonna see me at Evo, but you're the commentator. You're there the whole day,
Mm,
getting recognition. And most people on the stage, you don't hear them interact with the other player. You don't hear the trash talk. You just see them shake the opponent's hand and sit down and look at the screen, compared to the commentator looking at the screen, showing his personality, making jokes, making informative and uh things about like, oh, by the way, this works because this character can do this, teaching everybody, so you get a lot more things you can promote and stuff. So it's just like different, I would say. And because of that, I wanted to show my personality more. And I was talking to Hook Gang God about the same conversation. He said, "Dude, you definitely should you should definitely do more YouTube and like Twitch and stuff." And I was like, you know what? All right. Because at first, remember, I used to stream, but it was just like I was quiet. I was just like I barely streamed, but when I took it to like making YouTube videos and stuff like that, like more serious, this was like around like 2018, I would say. I started really doing more content creation, and the rest was history.
Mm.
So pretty much having a conversation with Hook, he kind of was saying that he could see me doing more YouTube content and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I kept it in mind, and I started from scratch. I was like, all right, let's get this YouTube up. Like, all right, let's see what we could do. You know?
That's a good point that you bring actually, because it's true that commentator get a lot more opportunities to do their branding, showcase their personality, their brand pretty much, and the players unfortunately, you know let's say even former pro players, as soon as their career is over, um they they're not left with much after that, they
Right.
yeah. So it's good
And
to have a perspective long term.
exactly. Because I feel like being a commentator lasts way longer and the range is wider than being a competitive player because I learned that in Street Fighter 4. I was mainly only good with Dudley, like one character, but I can play like the whole cast and stuff. That's fine. But that I learned that in Street Fighter 5, Dudley was not in that game, so I had to learn the game from scratch again. You know, while the commentator, they are watching all the games, and every new game, they're always going to have something to do. They're always going
Yeah.
to have something. Even just for your one match you got known for, they're probably getting known for on your match, Daigo's match, another match. So it's a lot more you can do. It's a lot more of a range, more opportunity. They're recognizing your personality as a brand. But with me, that's why like in four, a lot of people who I've met at like Evo or like these big events, when I had a conversation with these people, they said, "Wow, you actually a cooler dude than I thought. I thought you were like a mean person." And I said, "Why you say that?" He said, "Because every time I see you, you always looking angry." And I'm like, "Well, you have to understand, I'm playing against the biggest tryhards in the tournament. I have to lock in. So that's why I'm looking serious like I'm trying to understand, I'm trying to pay attention. So obviously I just look mean right now because I'm trying to focus. That's how I look when I'm focused, But no, I'm cool. I'm cool.
No, honestly, I think you're one of the funnier players, even in tournament. During the match, you'll look at the camera, you'll joke
Mm.
around with your opponent. So yeah,
You
that's
know,
it's pretty
you
cool.
know, it's funny because I'm noticing every time when I get on the stage, they always do a full screen on me. Like they look at the view, but I see what's going on because there's like a big screen that people don't see. So I be seeing like they point the camera, then they just start moving the camera directly, having me in the center. I've noticed the cameramen like to do that when I'm on the screen, just to see if they're going to capture a moment or something. I've noticed that, and I just go with the flow. Sometimes I give the opponent bunny ears or something random. I don't know. It depends though. I'm not weird, all right? I'm not gonna just I know who I do it to, like probably like my homies or somebody I'm cool with. I'm not gonna do it to a complete person that's like trying hard like Momochi. I'm not gonna bother him. Like, nah. How would I look trolling him? I'm just look goofy. Like, nah.
And
But yeah, that's just what how I got more into like content creation, just showing my personality more because I want to let the people know I'm not a mean person. I have a sense of humor. And yeah, people used to think I'm just a serious person that just don't like to talk to anybody. And it's all right though. It's just the pictures that they just took from me like a monitor. But that's the only thing you got from me. So I had to change that by being a content creator.
hey, the people that are going to be watching this are most definitely going to be already subscribed to you. But hey, if you aren't and you want some really good fighting game content, hey, make sure to check out Smug's links in the description below. And Yeah, he's been working hard recently. Multiple fighting game at the same time. KOF 98, old Fatal Fury games, CVS 2, Marvel. Yeah, he's got it all. Um. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you about your more recent content.
Mhm.
Um. How has your so I know what got you to start your content creation journey and all, and now I want to know, since you started, how has it evolved? Like, has there been a change maybe recently or throughout your content creation career? Or like, I don't know if my question makes sense, but
Mhm.
has your vision changed with your experience? How do you
Yes, it actually did change, because when I used to make content, I used to just mainly do it for one game, just played Street Fighter 5. But as time went by, I realized that it starts to get stale if you just upload one type of video, because there's going to be people when you get in like a new audience and stuff, there's going to be people that want to see different things. So I try to make it more like versatile, and that was another reason why I started doing retro, to have more variety on the channel, because it's more refreshing. Now you're not going to really know what to expect, so you can always have something cool cool to watch. Excuse me. So that's what I'm saying. Like yeah, like I was gonna just only upload Street Fighter 5, but then once Street Fighter 6 comes out, now people not gonna want to watch Street Fighter 5 because
mm,
Street Fighter 6 is out, but nobody's gonna really want to watch you because you're only known for that one specific game and that one specific character. It won't work out in the long run. That's why I started doing variety content. So now I'm just going to be doing different games because I love video games. I love fighting games and all of that. So that's my lane. And I want to do a lot more. And because of that, it has so many sponsors hit me up, so many big gaming companies reach out to me because I'm just doing more than just one game. So a lot of
mm.
people, they say, "Hey, would you try my new game? Hey, try this game. This game is coming out the top of next year." I wasn't getting these opportunities when I only played one game, Street Fighter 5. I didn't get none of these opportunities. Only opportunities I got were like a tournament or something like that. They were going to invite me to, which is fine. It's cool, but it's just so many more people I've met doing the retro games, variety games. So many people I never even expect. So I think it worked out for the better. I'm thinking of a long-term goal. That's why.
That's nice. Yeah, I see you playing different games, and you even play some Marvel Rivals as well. You know,
Marvel Rivals, that's
some.
my game right there. Love that game. That's why I'm saying, like, with I'm telling you, like, just doing variety stuff, it will work in the long run, because so many people that only make content for just Street Fighter 6, right? Once Street Fighter 7 comes out, or the next Street Fighter, but people only wanted to watch you for this one character only, it's going to be a little rough in the long run. And from experience, that's what I had to deal with. So that's why I started doing more variety. So now I can get into all kinds of games where I can have like more people tune in from different avenues and stuff, when their favorite game, their favorite character. So it's just so much more to work with. It really is.
Okay, little off topic question, but have you ever been interested in playing horror games? I think with your personality, that people
You
would like
know,
to watch that. You know.
so I'm actually am interested in doing more horror content, because there was this one game I've tried it, right? I tried this game. It was called what is it called? It was called Chicken Feet, something like that, right? So you're in a big warehouse, right? You're in a
Mhm.
big warehouse. You got to find keys to go to like the next room. But there's a big chicken that's sneaking around the corner, and if he finds you, he outruns you, so you can't even run away. Once he sees you, you're dead. And it's like this very shock value, like it's like a jump scare noise, like a
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
like a loud fire alarm out of nowhere. So it's quiet, right? It's dark. You got the key. You just all you hear are your footsteps. So you hear your footsteps. You just running, and then I don't know where you just see a big chicken, you got to run for your life, and it's mad scary. Like, so that's what got me into more scary games. I want to do a lot more, for sure.
Hey man, if you ever do a scary game stream or something, hey, just hit me up. I'll be watching because I'm a huge horror game fan, and I think even on YouTube, if you clip out the key moments, like little jump scares, you make a nice video. I think people would love that. With
Okay,
your
I'll,
personality,
I'll,
you know.
I'll, I'll, I'll see what I could do. I'll see what I could do. Cause yeah, I mean, I don't hate scary games. I just didn't play too many. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely try that. Do they count Resident Evil as a horror game?
Yeah,
It's like
but
an action slash
yeah,
kind of horror, but
yeah,
it's more like
yeah.
an action game, I would say.
I would
I mean,
say
if it was, I mean, it's probably both.
start with the classics like Outlast. Can go wrong with
Okay,
Outlast. Yeah.
okay. All right,
Um.
I'll write that on my list. I'll see what I could do.
Oh yeah. There's one more question. So speaking of those, to go back to those legacy title, having played them all, are they as difficult as people say, or can people really get into them if they try hard enough, or because
I-
people see them as too intimidating, maybe?
I'm gonna tell you this. Honestly, I feel like the newer generation has an advantage over the older generation because they have more access to learn things at a faster pace compared to the people that first learned the game. It took them years to get really good, but we can learn it at a faster pace. And so much knowledge that the modern games forces you to learn, like anti-airs, neutral, all kinds of stuff. That's kind of a mandatory thing. In the classic games, you can kind of win off of a lot of gimmicks. I feel like there's a lot more gimmicks in the classic games because there's a lot more broken stuff. But if you have the great uh understanding of the modern fighting games, you can adapt well in the classic games. And a lot of the older games, they're not balanced. They really are
Oh
not
yeah.
balanced. Hell no. Sorry for my language, but no. That game is not balanced for sure. So many broken unblockables, glitches that will make you have your character underneath the map and you can't do nothing. I was playing Justin Wong in one of the Marvel games, Marvel's Capcom. He was playing Spider-Man or something like that. I'm playing Captain America. I literally couldn't move. Like, and he just got free hits. I'm like, what did you do? And he trying to play it off. He said, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, bro, you literally can see my character. You know how they have like a walk animation? They leaning back and forth trying to fight
Hmm.
you. My character was standing still, like, and I'm like, yo, you literally glitched the game. Like, are you cheating? Like, what are you doing? He said, nah, nah, he laughing. I'm like,
That's the
this
Wazler
what this
right
game is.
there.
You see, the modern players, they ain't gotta ever deal with no crap like that. But if you want to learn it, I feel like the modern players, they will be a very dangerous crowd of people if they really learn and put the time into it. Yeah, because a lot of older like generation players, they don't have the greatest neutral. Now that I'm revisiting the games, they're pretty much mainly beating you off of like gimmicks. Now the top players, they're still the top players. Don't get me wrong, but don't sleep on the modern generation. I feel like they could learn quick
You
and be
know,
a problem. It's going to take a while though, but
I'm noticing a trend with the younger generation actually picking up these old games. Like, for example, I see a lot
yeah,
of young players in Third Strike, and even on Fightcade on these older games. Like, for example, Alegrias, the Vega player in
yes,
four. He's
yeah,
he's only 18 years old, and he also
that's
plays
crazy.
Alpha 3. He also plays CVS 2. So yeah, there's definitely among the younger generation some players that will revisit those older games.
All right, yeah. So, but that's true because what's helping social media. I think so because it's easier to find all of this tech. I know when Street Fighter Third Strike first came out, I'm pretty sure nobody. It was so many moments. Like I heard that Tokido went to the United States at the time, and nobody knew Urian was good. Apparently, everybody used to think he was not that good, Urian. But then he brought out the Aegis reflector, the mirror setups, and they started to change their opinion. So that's what I'm saying. If they would have had social media back then, we probably would have already been new about how good like Urian was as a character. So stuff like that. That's why like with the newer generation, everybody early on with all these content creators making tier list videos about what character is the best, early on, and people can bounce off ideas like, yes, I played this guy online once again, and this guy from Europe, the best Ken player I ever played. But without social media, you had to go to these events. So going to these events were the social media. You had to go to these events. But now it's all over the world. So many people you never met before, but they could share you information about how good a character is.
Mm.
That's why I'm saying again, don't sleep on the newer generation. We have more access to learn these things compared to before.
Speaking of that, I really think that's what has made Japan the strongest region in fighting games for the longest time, is that where us in the US or in Europe, like, we don't get to exchange as much as they do, because they have that arcade culture. They get to exchange tech, and they improve much more, at a better pace, due to the fact that they can exchange so much. And now, like, we're seeing the gap between Japan and the rest of the world closing in, due to how, like, social media and the tech, how people can exchange nowadays, like, much easier.
And that was another thing too. I learned that in 4 because in Street Fighter 4, when I played, I was one of the first people like in my generation to be traveling at a young age. So I started traveling like around like 16 to 17. And I've realized when I started playing, they were just kind of like the same skill level as me, but the only advantage they had, while a lot of them were more dominant, because a lot of people don't know, Street Fighter 4 didn't come out the same time as like in Japan and around the world. Japan had it for a year before everybody else can even
Mm,
get access to the game. I got the game in 2009, first day when it was released, but Japan, it came out in 2008. So it's
yeah,
like, yo, like and then those tournament players, they're just going to grind the game. So by the time they already had a year in experience, like imagine now today, Street Fighter 6 just dropped around the world, but it was in Japan since 2023. It's the same thing. You're already
yeah, for
way
sure.
at a higher level. So I was able to adapt like to like the high level players, but it took time, it took dedication. But that's what I'm saying, with the newer generation, it's easier to learn things like at a faster pace, I think. If
Mm,
they just put their mind to it, I think so.
for sure, for sure. Hey, there's something I wanted to ask you. Little off topic, because we're 2 hours in, I think. So
Mhm.
there's so many things I want to ask you, but this interview might be like 8 hours long. So I'll,
Okay, no, it's fine.
so I wanted to ask you about, you're really into gaming, but do you have other hobbies, like things you're into? Like, are you a movie guy? Are you?
I'm an open book. I could do like everything pretty much. Like I even like going to like parties. I like going into like, yeah, movies, all of that stuff. Yeah, it's cool. Like I like going outside, exercising, stuff like that. I like meeting new people, going to events. Like I even like a lot of art. Like I don't even
Oh,
mind like going to like art museums and stuff like that. I don't know. I just like abstract and stuff like that. Even though I don't have a single painting in my room, but that's fine. I still like going to like I like watching cool art and stuff. So I love music, so I like going to these events where it's like different music festivals, all that stuff. I'm an open book. I'm pretty much not like a picky person when it comes to things like that.
nice, nice. So you like both indoors, outdoors hobbies,
Hmm.
and that's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
nice.
cool.
To close, we're slowly nearing the end of the interview. I want to ask you more like about the future, of this game, Street Fighter 6. How do you see it going, and what would you like for the game to happen? Like,
I think. I'm starting to think that this game is going to age like fine wine because all right, in the first couple of seasons, it was still like everybody was learning the game and stuff, and they keep doing balance patches and stuff. So it just shows they want to keep improving the game, and they just add small things to make the game even better and better. And I feel like the thing they should probably add is more character more unique characters, I would say, because one of the first unique characters was C Viper as a DLC. Very unique character. Even Ed, because the main meta for the longest was just crouch and medium kick into drive rush. Pretty much
Yeah.
everybody had that, or fireball into drive rush. That's why I like how they made Sagat. He's very different in this game. Same with C Viper, very different in this game, and they're both really fun. Even Elena, very different but very fun when you play the character. So I guess that's the direction where they're trying to go into, like make more characters like very unique. That will make the game really last a longer period of time.
All right. Well, thank you so much for giving me your time for this interview. Really appreciate
No
it.
problem, man.
I'm
No
happy I
problem.
got to explore your mind and these moments throughout your career. And yeah, very happy to have you. If you want to say something,
I just want to say I'm very honored for you to even interview me. I truly appreciate it, and I hope you continue doing more of these interviews. It was pretty fun. It was just we having a conversation. I didn't really think of it too much like I'm being interrogated. No, it was just a conversation, and time be flying. So thank you very much for having me as the guest. So thank you very much.
yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.